All right, the time is now 6:29, so we're going to go ahead and get started 1 minute early here, as per the usual, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll move us on to the roll call. Dave Hemingway, Select Board Chairperson.
Marla Herrick.
Norm Blake.
And that is all of us. And so that moves us on to announcements. Yes, my vacation was good. No, I would not wish the multiple long flights, trains, and buses on anybody, and it's good to be back. So actual announcements. Webster Community Power is holding an information session on Monday, January 29th at 6:30 p.m. here. Mailers for the power selection will go out on the 22nd, and the website and help desk and phone information will become available then as well on the 22nd. A reminder that if you are on a third-party provider, a business account, or are net metered, you should not be getting opted in, but please verify this is the case. We have caught some errors in the data that the utilities have provided in the past and may have missed something here. More information and questions about Webster Community Power should be brought to that meeting so all may hear the answers. Next, the primaries are coming. The primaries are coming. The sky may not be falling, but your vote definitely counts and makes a difference, especially in a primary like this one. The Webster polls will be open in New Hampshire as per usual on Tuesday the 23rd from 8 to 7 right here in this hall. A reminder that if you are undeclared, once you vote on one side or the other, don't forget to undeclare again on the way out unless you wish to remain part of the party that you vote with. If you wish to help count ballots at the end of the day or just watch the process so you know how Webster does it accurately, please contact our moderator, Mike. Lastly, a reminder that electioneering is not allowed, so please don't wear your hats or similar in support of any party or person that is expected to be voted for on this ballot. A big thank you to our road agent and crew for keeping our roads in good shape through the winter and the storms. Please all be aware that we do not have a clean pavement policy though, so drive accordingly cautiously. Lastly, the town is still looking for a shoveler for cleaning snow up on winter days, so contact Dana, the town administrator, for more information if you are interested. Are there any further announcements?
I have no announcements.
All right. So that moves us on to appointments. Our first appointment is Mary Welch for the deputy clerk, which sounds like really good news, so please come on down.
My candidate come up?
Yes, please.
No pressure.
Come on down.
No, Mary, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm gonna do it anyway. So I do have, this is Stephanie Claes. Did
Hi.
I pronounce that correctly?
Plagueis.
Plagueis.
You need to work on that.
I know. So I do have her application for employment, made a copy for each of you, as well as her resume that she submitted. So if you'd like to send it to me.
Ah. Mhm. I thought that sounded familiar.
It's figuring out who we are now.
Yeah.
You never know what that means, though.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what's he talking about?
Well, if you look at the address, you'll understand.
We're all neighbors, so.
So,
It's a good neighborhood.
It's a good neighborhood.
So,
Except for
right.
Marla.
let me first start by
They don't allow me
asking,
in.
let me first start by asking you, what is the process for this? Because I believe it is up to you for the deputy clerk, not us, so what is the actual process here?
Yep, once she has been approved tonight and sworn in, I'll do her oath of office with Stephanie. I'll contact the Secretary of State's office tomorrow, let them know that we have a deputy clerk, town clerk, and I'll get her set up with any and all training with the state, and then I'll do the individual training myself with the Avatar software, vital statistics, motor vehicle, all of that. Plus Avatar will offer some more training if needed, but I think I pretty much can handle everything going on, I think.
You are correct, Dave, though, the clerk does have the ability to pick the person that.
So there's really
Yeah.
nothing for us to have to do.
No, it's
Not-
more of a formality.
Not really, I think that,
I do have her
just so you can meet her.
letter.
Yep,
for you to
perfect.
Review and sign off as approved. I've gone over this with Stephanie already.
I suppose this is true, because the pay might be, it would be something.
Well, that would be the only thing you control.
Yeah.
Right, which is budgeted, yeah.
The pay and the location.
Alright. Pass that down so you can read it.
So she basically shadowed me for a while until I get the training under there's a privacy training that she'll do online, plus the state stuff that I'll probably go with her, because I have a list of questions after this year. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me give you the floor. Please tell us why you want to do this and be a part of it. And
I know,
anything
it's
else
because
you'd
Mary's
like to
really a
say.
nice person, that's why, right?
Well, we just moved in just over a year ago, or just before Christmas last year, and at the time you were looking for a town clerk, and you forwarded it to me. I'm like, oh, isn't that cool? Like, but clearly I wasn't even a member of the town yet. So here we are a year later, and he happened to see on the website, and I was like, I think this is meant to be. I'm transitioning out of a part-time role in Concord, Massachusetts, because we did just move. I was there for 18 years, supporting an entrepreneur, private pilot, like he's a just investor, real estate developer, and I've supported him for 18 years. And it was time to get something a little closer to home, and I'm interested in getting plugged in as new to the neighborhood.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments?
No.
or-
Well, thank you.
Glad that you came to town.
Well, welcome and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another piece that did come up in conversations in the past is the difference between assistant deputy clerk and a deputy clerk.
Yeah,
Because,
assistant clerk versus deputy clerk.
Yeah, because the assistant doesn't have all the access that a deputy does. Deputy will be a municipal agent, like
Mhm.
myself, and we'll do every aspect of the job. Yeah, so she'll be able to fill in if I'm out ill or on vacation, which is.
Yeah, because
Awesome.
a deputy
Yeah,
must
which is what we
be
really
a
need.
resident.
Yeah, and a resident
able to
in
take
town.
over.
Mhm. Yeah, an assistant can be from anywhere, yeah.
Thank you.
Some of the bigger towns, you know, Manchester, Nashua, even Boston, they have an assistant there. She doesn't live in town, so there's certain things she can do, yeah.
All right.
Any other questions, or?
I'm looking forward to getting started and getting to know you all.
Yes,
I believe
awesome.
that takes care of it. Thank you very much. and
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you in the
We'll go
office.
downstairs and I'll sway you in
I do
and
have one brief thing.
go out for
Yes.
drinks.
We didn't ask
On a
you.
related note, her husband has also volunteered to be on the ZBA, so I didn't know if we wanted to handle that at the same time, just so they can leave instead of staying for the whole meeting.
Any arguments for moving forward to,
No,
or
I think
against
it's
moving
great, we
forward to that
have
on the
new
agenda?
people in town that are volunteering.
All right,
Lock the doors, don't let
So,
them.
let's go ahead and take care of that. Well, they take care of the oaths and everything else they need to do to finish being official.
Okay, this is the,
This will be for
For him,
him, and
yep.
the
At
oath,
the same time?
after we've gone through this, the oath would actually also be with Mary.
Mary, okay. Perfect.
All right. So thank you, and then come on down.
Switch the hot seat.
Who knew we were playing musical chairs today? Well, welcome, and thank you for your desire to be on the ZBA. As I'm sure you're aware, there have been multiple positions on many boards and similar that could use help. So thank you very much.
Information.
let me just start by asking you to say who you are and why you want to be a part of it and what you think you can bring to it.
Sure. Robert Clegus, like Stephanie, been here about a year now, and we finally feel like we've gotten settled in a little bit. And you know, I'd like to be more involved in the town also, just like Stephanie said. So I think you know, giving back a bit to the community and volunteering some of my time, getting to know the folks in the town, you know, getting to know the town processes is all pretty interesting to me. My background is, I'm actually Canadian by birth. I grew up on a dairy farm long ago, and I moved to Massachusetts about 30 years ago, roughly. Spent about 30 years trying to escape. Kids finally finished, you know, high school, and you know, we had always been planning to kind of head north, so we made that a reality last year. My current position is I hold an officer position in a software company in Massachusetts called Monotype, and we technically own all the fonts that you're typing with every day. And I work from home, so I'm pretty available. You know, certainly making meetings and things like that are pretty easy for me. I'm right up the road, obviously, across the street. Yeah, so, you know, I actually came to the zoning board meeting last week because I had something on the agenda, and Russell might have cornered me. But, you know, totally is of interest to me, and, you know, I spent a lot of time reading zoning while I was in Webster while I was doing my application, so I think it's something I can contribute to, and you know, hopefully can do a good job for the community.
As a fellow engineer, thank you for the logic that you're likely to bring to this. That's always appreciated at all the meetings.
I do a lot of contract work too, so a little bit of that on my side some days.
So it looks like this is for a 3-year term.
Yep.
And what's the process here again? We basically just say, yep, we agree, and then
You would do a motion to appoint him to
Thank
the
you.
ZBA.
That's what I was forgetting. All right, any other questions?
No, so thank you for volunteering too.
You're welcome.
That's great.
All right, so I would move that we accept the application of Robert Clegus as a ZBA member for the term of 3 years.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, let me give you this, and
Talk to Mary.
you can go get sworn in.
All right.
We can do this downstairs if you'd like.
All right, that moves us on to our next appointment, which is Eric Hansen for Guy Board Hill Road.
Good evening, all.
Howdy.
Hey, good.
Doing well yourself? So I know this topic has been brought up before regarding road maintenance down on Guy Board Hill. I'm not sure if you saw, did Senator Innes forward the letter that I had sent to you? Have you been in touch? Did he get in touch with you?
I didn't see anything from Senator Innes. Did that come over to
I did not
town?
either.
Came through, okay.
Yeah.
That was kind of part of this. I know this is gonna be a, you know, a continuation process. So I did print off, got 3 copies here. If you just wanna take one and pass it down. The top is the letter that I sent to the various people who are stated at the top. The one person I did hear back from was Senator, well, not directly from Senator Enos, but his assistant, who said that he would be in contact with Dave Hemingway with the select board. So that's kind of was my starting point.
Okay. Yeah, I have not seen an email nor gotten any voicemail.
I wondered about that and thought maybe I should follow up before this meeting, but, you know, like I said, this isn't the last time we can.
Yep,
have
I mean, that's
discussions, so.
perfectly fine. So what did you, obviously, this is your letter. What did you get back from them, other than that they were gonna follow up with us?
That was it.
Ah,
That was it. That's where I was hoping that they had gotten back with you, and maybe there had been some discussion that I just hadn't been aware of. It doesn't sound like there has.
so it was Senator Innes that got back to you?
It
and
was
said that
an
that was gonna
assistant from him, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was it was sent out, right before it was the week of Christmas. So, very possible it slipped through, through New Year's and pushed
They're,
back.
they're probably flat out, because right now is when they are just finalizing the bills that they're trying to introduce down in Concord. So they're probably a bit just busy,
Sure.
and it slipped, and hopefully they would get back later. Might I suggest, since we have we will follow up, that you contact Senator Innes's office and ask when and what they would like to do, or to talk about, because then we can start the conversation and show that we're trying to help.
Alright.
Yeah.
So you think we're better off starting with their recommendations or responses, or do you wanna hear anything? I've made some notes. Again, I know some of these topics have been brought up before. So again, are we better off waiting to hear from somebody before we dig up the whole, and just kinda rehash everything we've already talked about?
I don't know that there's much that we could say without being able to talk to them.
Right.
But if you would like to do a quick overview of where you believe things stand, I would be fine with that.
Okay. So I know emergency lane funding had been brought up and shot down. Some of my letter I'd sent out kind of alludes to safety concerns. I thought maybe that could potentially be an option. It's an agreement with the Army Corps of Engineers. Doesn't seem like they're taking very much responsibility for any of this.
So I will comment on the emergency lane in that, even if we did declare that that's an emergency lane, emergency lane doesn't cover making a road like passenger vehicle passable. It's, can I get a 4x4 off-road vehicle through it at some point?
Okay.
In order to do like a rescue or something.
So it's not necessarily
So,
getting,
so it's not really gonna help what you want to be helped, even if we could do that.
okay. So yeah, so then the last one I just stated was some sort of agreement with the Army Corps. And then I did find this interesting packet that I'd like to read more of. It's quite a thing on history and cultural resources of Webster. Looks
I'm
like
sorry, I
this-
can't hear you. Can you just speak up just a little louder? please?
Sure, it was historical and cultural resources, 18 pages I found online, about Webster. It goes all through the history back to 1773. Just a few highlights that I did, as I read through before I came in. There's a study done in 2003. Among some of these statistics, 83% of respondents urged that the federal government be encouraged to maintain the Blackwater Reservoir area, where a lot of the town history resides and is presently undeveloped condition. So, based on community desires, that struck my attention. And it was just stating more of the rich history down in the Blackwater Reservoir. And then this portion towards the back is cultural resources in Webster. And I came across,
Is this the historical document on the website, or is this part of the master plan?
it makes reference to the master plan at the end. So this one portion that caught my eye was the transportation enhancement funds. I don't know if you're familiar with any of that. Does that sound familiar at all? No.
It does not.
I can either read it to you or I can just send that along, but that portion highlighted, if it's a resource available, is that somebody we could reach out to as far as additional funding for seasonal maintenance or anything?
this seems like it would be more helpful to the Historic Society with the old firehouse than to this. But
And I
it's
had wondered,
certainly
I had
something
wondered
to look
that,
at.
I had wondered that too, you know, if it was for buildings or for roads.
Because it does mention scenic and historic highway programs.
Right.
So I don't know how that might fit in. It would definitely be something to look into further, or to ask about being able to use on a continued basis or something of that nature when we talk to Senator Innes.
Is this a copy
So-
for us, or?
You can certainly take this, yeah.
I want to make sure that Dana has it, so it's easy for him to reference when, if they get into a conversation.
Yeah, I know, as far as the word, I wasn't sure seeing the historical stuff, you know, is it sites, is it structures, is it whatnot? Is one paragraph in here that, historic resources of Webster are much broader than individual buildings or sites. Historic encompasses space as well as buildings. Term includes farms, barns, churches, towns, centers, streetscapes, bridges, streets, stone walls, in short, the architectural, cultural, and aesthetic heritage of the community. Where does a recreation site fall within that, you know, with what may be down there that's historical? One of these highlighted sections does say they do walking tours down there. I'm not sure if that's on the Cogswell side or if that's on our side, but I would imagine that's the historic district that arranges that. But it's just another group of people accessing the recreation area.
All right.
And I believe, yeah, I think those are just some rough touching points, you know, until maybe we hear back for some more information.
Sounds good. And, yeah, so thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for contacting all those folks, as we haven't had much luck when we've contacted the various appropriate people. So having some form of reply is really good, so thank you.
Right, at least it's the start. And that's what I figured this would be. You know, we didn't expect to walk out of here with a resolution, but at least get the discussion started, hopefully productively.
It's gonna take a long time,
Mm-hmm.
working for the,
Well,
I've been here a long time, so.
Oh, come on, states and the federal government move super
Oh,
fast.
yeah, right. Exactly, yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, we don't plan on leaving, you know, it's not in the cards for us to
Good.
leave. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like my gut tells me we need to apply pressure to the Army Corps of Engineer, but in order to do that, we need the senators and someone other than, something that we can't do here in this
Right.
room.
Mhm.
So, I guess with that, we'll put it on hold.
Gotta keep ahead of it too, though. That's
Yeah.
great. If you know, that's great if you can kind of watch that and bring
Right.
anything else to us too.
Right, yeah, I know you had mentioned you'll follow up with Senator Enos's office. I'll probably send a follow-up as well, just because I've been in touch with them as well. Let them know I was here at this meeting, you know, any information would be.
Yeah, and feel
great
free
moving
to
forward.
CC Dana.
Okay, I can do that.
I think years and years ago, they used to have, like, I don't know if the Historical Society used to take people down and they'd have, you know, they had, at one time, they had, I think, numbers on different sites where the houses used to be and all. I don't know if they're still
There's a
in
little
there.
map in here that actually
Oh,
shows.
okay,
shows the sites,
I
yeah.
haven't been down in a long time, but I
And
just,
I believe they don't do it anymore, but I believe at previous Old Home Days, when I was first arriving in town, they actually took horse rides down there with carriages.
Oh, yeah.
Or the carts, in order to show people the different historic sites as part of Old Home Day.
and
They said
that
they
would
did
be a
that at
great
home, didn't
thing,
they?
yeah.
I believe they used to. They haven't in quite a while, but I think they
we
used
may
to.
have done it the very last year they did it, because I remember the kids were excited to.
But it
get
is
on the horse
something,
carriage.
that we have that great property there, and it's, you know, to
Mm-hmm.
use it and all that stuff is, to me, we're lucky to have it, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great asset to the town.
Oh, yeah.
The last thing we'd wanna do is upset the Army Corps and say, fine, well,
Oh,
we're just gonna shut it down. And that's not what we want to see happen. We're just looking for either help on that road, you know, is there an alternative access point through Bridge House Road?
See,
That
we used to
is
have
a
a
class
man that
five.
lived right in Webster that took care of all that, so he was approachable.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, I remember he took us tours, like the kids at school ended up going through the dam. We went, now, of course, you can't do it with what's going on, and I guess, but you have to be so careful, but it was really interesting at that time, you know, but the guy lived right here in town, and he was very accessible. And that's the trouble, you know, wherever whoever, they probably don't even come up here once in a while, maybe, but when they lived in town, it was easy to get a hold of them and all of that, so we had a lot of interesting talks. So maybe we could do something like that too, someday, for the whole town.
It'd be nice to see something like that, horse and carriage, cart
yeah.
ride come back.
Yep,
But we'll of course have to have appropriate places and passages for them to do it, and appropriate people that can and want to use their resources
Yeah.
to do so.
but it would be nice to have somebody from the dam, the people that run the dam up here to talk to the town too, because we have a lot of property up back there, so. So don't forget.
I will not.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so that moves us on to old business, which is the first one in Pond Hill culvert estimates.
You had asked me some time ago to get a rough estimate of what the Pond Hill culvert would entail, dollar-wise. And this is a very rough estimate, and there's no plans, or this is just some numbers that were put together for us. And so the figures we have for engineering and wetlands permits, et cetera, is 15,500. And then there's another quote for 56,617 or something, 617.28 for materials. And that was, I think, to give you an idea of what you might be talking about.
Yep, and that is appearing to be just for the concrete portion, so then it would also need the road work.
It does not include the roads.
So I would say that then the estimated low end would probably be about 75,000 by the time it's done, and it's most likely to be significantly more. That being said, I see that you've also included an agreement about this area, and could you summarize that, please?
We looked into when West Village Road was developed, how that happened off that Class 6 road. There is an agreement that was signed by Robert Austin in 1985, advising that he would take care of the road. I've got the agreement here, and I will try to read it to you.
And
I don't know if Mr. Austin,
rather than reading the whole
It's not.
thing,
It said it would
and,
take care of the culvert and the bridge.
yeah,
and
rather
the
than reading the
OB.
whole thing, I'll read the highlighted portion, which is, and whereas said highway will be of special advantage to Robert H. Austin and his successors in title, this layout is made and granted upon condition that he and they assume and bear the entire expense of constructing, repairing, and maintaining the same for such travel as may result, including use of the same by fire department equipment and personnel. It is to be understood that fire department equipment of the town of Webster may refuse to pass over the bridge on said highway unless the same has been annually inspected and approved for such use as an appropriate official of the State Department of Public Works and Highways. So, I don't believe that the whole subdivision is owned by the Austins anymore, but it does then fall to the subdivision and the folks that are there based on this agreement.
I
Yeah.
think they only own one place down there, everybody
Yeah.
else owns.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that's probably where it would come down. Obviously, this is kind of an antique agreement.
Obviously, what was the name of it? there was a group for the lake up there, and I'm blanking on the name of them.
I think they're the
But-
Winnapocket Lake Group. I'm sure
Yeah.
you probably don't know.
But
Dr.
they,
Emily
they
was the
were
president.
certainly interested in this as well, because of the quality of the lake. So perhaps perhaps they would be interested in working with the owners in the subdivision to possibly help with some funding for that, but at this point, it looks like it is not something for the town to handle, which is somewhat interesting. Has it been mainly the lake group, or have we also heard directly from the subdivision folks about trying to repair?
I've heard mostly from the president of their association, but I'm sure
The
that.
subdivisions or the lakes?
The lake,
Okay.
but I'm sure that many owners in that subdivision are involved.
In that case, may I suggest that we forward said rough estimates so that they may make their own decisions? We've at least started the ball rolling for them and let them do as they wish to do.
Okay, I have sent the estimate on to the president.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Nope.
And public topic, is there any comments or questions on this? All right, so I think that leaves us where we are with that. All right. So that moves us on to the Clothespin Bridge Construction Engineering RFQ.
We sent out, as you know, we need to hire an engineer to oversee the construction portion of the Clothespin Bridge project.
Which can't be the same as the engineers.
It cannot be
Right.
the same engineer, and it has to be approved by the state, having gone through the, training
And
and
the
have
federal
the
processes.
certificates and so forth. We only received one proposal, and these were RFQs. This was nothing to do with money, this was our qualifications. The state has you do a two-step process. The first step is, who do you have that would be willing to do it? And the second step, then you need to also send out the request for proposals. We only received one. It was from Wright Pierce in Portsmouth. They're a very reputable firm, and I have no question they couldn't do it. But it does, I sent it out to 5 engineers, and it does concern me a little that we didn't have any interest really in it. I think what I would like to do is to do this process again, and what I didn't do, and probably I should have, is call these engineers and tell them it's coming, and would they have any interest, and so forth. And again, we're not talking money here, isn't that great?
Just a qualification.
Qualifications, yeah.
So are these just for in New Hampshire, or do we go like out of state? for
These are
some?
all in New Hampshire.
They're all, do you think it'd be wise to maybe go out of state too? I don't know, I have no idea, but.
I went by the list that the DOT has,
Oh.
as far as the ones that have been vetted to do this.
As much as I like to do more, this isn't quotes or anything of that nature. That would come in the request for bids. So I would, while I would like to have more input and more feedback, that often doesn't happen. So I would suggest that you contact our current engineers, ask them if they have concerns or other people that you should contact. But normally an RFQ process has an end date that you kind of need to hold to. And my biggest fear would be that we end up delaying the whole project if we try to redo this phase of the project. So I would just suggest making sure that we won't do that if we try to go forward with more.
Okay, I have spoken with the engineer
Okay.
about this, and he was surprised there was only one response. So he suggested that if we could send our RFQ request out again, or we could certainly talk to Wright Pierce and see what their ideas were. You can interview these to see if you're comfortable with these engineers. In this case, where we only have one, it's kind of odd putting out a request for proposals, for money. So I gotta figure out how that works.
Well,
But I see your point, and I don't wanna delay it either.
so if request for qualifications is a requirement to be able to bid, and that may or may not have been written that way. But if it is a requirement to bid, then yeah, they would know they'd be the only people bidding, and that would not really be a great situation.
So how many of the?
If it is not a requirement that they participate in the request for qualifications or questions portion in order to bid, then we may get more once it's worth their time, because they'll be talking money.
They're used to doing these things.
Right.
So they know this is the first,
It's probably a
first
button
step.
that they push now.
Yeah.
So what you're suggesting is you'd like to take a minute and just give them, the people that you did send these to, a quick call to see if they're don't have, the reason why they didn't answer or give anything.
Well, and I guess.
Because I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't know
No,
how you
that seems
ask.
good.
In fairness, I would just do the process, start over again. And I know it might delay it, but Wright Pierce was the only one that adhered to the request for qualifications. But I think it's certainly understandable saying that we really are looking for more firms to throw their hat in the ring. So we would redo it all over again, and certainly we would hold Wright Pierce's Wright 30.
When did that go out? Was it like a couple
It
months ago?
went out December 11th.
So, yeah, so
So it
you've
was
got your
holidays.
holidays
And
and
that's-
everything.
What I'm concerned about is, who do they have in their office looking for some of
Yeah.
this? Holidays, they could have some of that same problem we all have.
So-
So a phone call even might not, to the ones who send it out, hey, I'm sending this back out. And I've got those before, hey, we'd like to know if you're even interested
Right.
in this, if you could send us qualifications.
I think that's kind of how I think we could
Okay.
do it.
Sounds good then. Any other comments or questions?
No, I think it's a good idea.
All right, so that moves us on to the 2024 budget.
Well, I know how you all love budgets, and I didn't know if this would be something that maybe we should set up a work session for, because there's still quite a bit of work to do on the budget.
I think that makes sense.
Me too.
And while I'm discussing that, the next thing in your agenda, I haven't told you, but the Hopkinton Select Board have invited you to their meeting on the 22nd at 5:30 in Hopkinton, to see if we can finish up our agreement and the ordinance, so that we can get it on the ballot.
January 22nd?
It's the 22nd, which is a Monday, next Monday, at 5:30. And maybe, so where I'm going with that, maybe we could meet here afterwards to work on the budget.
Or, can we do it any earlier?
Before?
We can do the budget anytime, sure.
I mean, I'm sure Dee and I can, but I don't know what your schedule is, if earlier would be possible.
Yes,
We
I
would
like
love it
that.
earlier.
I don't think we wanna try to keep them to go after the Hopkinton one, especially if we're gonna meet there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I would have to make sure that it's okay, but during the day, Monday, say after lunch, beforehand,
The 22nd?
on the 22nd might be okay for that, if that works for both of you.
Yeah, that could be.
Oh, Monday's never a good day.
No, it's not.
We already had a Monday.
That's okay.
But it's gone now.
The best place for it to be in the
Right?
past.
Yep.
Were you thinking of, were you thinking of 1 PM, is that what you're thinking, or 4 PM, or
2 PM,
2 PM, that sounds
Yeah.
Too short, 2 sounds good.
2?
because then that gives us a couple hours at least.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Make sure you don't wanna do 4:50.
How long do you think we're gonna need? I mean, I don't know, how long do you think we need?
I remember there were a few things that we went over that we listed that we'd wanna discuss.
There were several questions on the budget.
And then that would, after we have discussions in a work session on them, that would be when we would either decide to accept what's there, or request that a given department head would come in to talk about it again.
Normally, we'd be further along now, but we didn't do it while Dave was gone.
It's all
So
your
you
fault,
think
Dave.
2's good?
I think 2's fine,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But I also think that, if you'd like department heads to come back, I'd need to know so I could ask them.
We can do that at the next meeting.
And usually, maybe, I mean, the thing is, if any changes happen in the budget, I think it's very important.
Thank you for
the board to
coming.
Tell them.
Thank you, have a good night.
Here.
Yeah, I would agree that anything coming out of those meetings would be what would then request a department head, as opposed to expecting them to come to that meeting.
Yes. And also, I have set up with the moderator February 6th for the public hearing on the budget. So it would be great if it was ready
Is
to
it
rock and roll.
February
tonight.
6th?
Yes, that's a Tuesday.
At what time?
It would be at 6:30.
Man, it's going fast.
That also is the same date that petition warrant articles are due,
So we'd have them.
so you'd have them.
And sorry, you said 6:30?
6:30.
Okay. All right.
Have you heard of anything, anybody want to put a petition article in? No, I don't think so, I wouldn't think so.
That I'm aware of.
We may get one from the Historical Society.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume we would have the
Yeah.
Historical
Yeah.
Society one. That's been fairly ongoing and
Yeah.
expected.
And the people can vote on it, that's the
Yep.
bottom line, so.
And I think it makes it the most obvious and transparent, because they can come up and stand up and say, hey, we did all of this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's really good for them, I think,
Yep.
from a
Little-
PR perspective.
Yep, exactly, too.
All right, anything else for the budget currently?
No.
All right, that moves us on to the transfer station agreement.
And that, at the last meeting, the board accepted that.
Okay,
So
I think we've gone over it
it's,
quite lengthily and quite,
and they enjoyed going over it for the 100th time.
Yeah, really.
just saying.
Anyway, so that's the agreement. Hopkinton has also.
So when we
put
meet with
that-
them at this 5:30 on, we're just looking at each other in the eye going, unless they have something, we don't
I'm
really
hoping
have
that
anything.
you're all gonna have, just an agreement.
Yeah, cause
that,
and like,
okay,
will they,
this
if they have a problem before we sit there and look each other in the eyeball, will you know? Or are we gonna wait?
I don't believe they will, because they've already gone through this themselves.
I mean, they're kind of feeling the same things.
Yes.
We've all,
and
I don't,
I
use
also
the word
wanna
kill
set
it, but-
expectation that when we have the joint meeting with them, and you will have seen this in the packet that we got from Dana, what we've agreed to so far is the transfer station agreement, and that's what's gonna turn into warrant article.
Right,
What is not part of that is the transfer station ordinance, which includes things like their fee schedule.
right, which,
And having talked with them last time I was down there, there has been some pushback from some commercial entities, one of which is seen in our packet.
Right.
About what the expected new rates are. And yet, those expected new rates are simply so that the transfer station breaks even when they drop their stuff there. Because the haul rates and stuff for the transfer station itself have continued to climb and gone up. So they are expecting that, yes, there will be increases, but those increases will be direct offsets to, and direct result of the increased costs of tippage and sending things out, et cetera.
will they show us the percentage of the increase to back what they're
I
asking for?
I expect so. I just had the
Are you
discussion.
assuming?
Yes. I'm assuming that Neil will be on top of that.
Okay.
And hopefully that
And
is really
we-
the case.
And will they be asking us, I mean, granted, with only 25% and
So
furthermore,
any change to the ordinance has to be approved by both boards.
okay, which is in our agreement,
Yes.
I'm getting this.
And so I expect that there will be discussion about that there.
Yeah, so 60% just sounds, but I don't know, maybe everything's, I know a lot of things have gone up 50%.
Well, also, there's, a lot of things have not been updated in a very long time. The last couple times that stuff tried to be updated, it looks like it only went to the recycling committee for review and then never made it to either select board. So we may be looking at, yes, it's a 60% increase, but it's a 60% increase from several agreements ago, or the last time it was signed was 3 or 5 years ago, and now we've got the next 3 or 5 years, so I don't know.
Will
Those
we-
are the things we'll need to ask when we're there.
Will we on Monday get like a breakdown of where the increases are?
I certainly hope so, if we're
Okay,
gonna approve a
well,
fee schedule.
I'm,
I don't know that
Well,
that's what they're gonna talk about, but I'm
Well,
assuming they will.
you know how so much has been tossed around, so I'm
Yes.
like, did I miss that? Because at least, to speak educational. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but sometimes I'm always a little concerned that, what is needed, what is a must, and what is a hope.
Yeah.
And so, those are probably the best words, but hold on, I just wanna finish this sentence, and what has to happen now, because still, as much as I'm not sure things are gonna go down, but something's gonna give a little bit, I believe. I believe everything is very overstated right now, right down from lumber prices are starting to drop, interest rates are starting to drop, granted, that doesn't have to do with necessarily pricing, but, some of materials, that people can't get, that's being produced. People are finally somewhat trying to come back to work. I just hired 2 new guys that, everybody's like, oh, so things are switching a little. So all I'm saying to that is, as we get these items, what I would wanna do is look at what items that they're really feeling that need to be replaced and be able to maybe educate myself a little on that. So, not that we have tons to say, but maybe, at least we could suggest that, hey, I know a little bit about this. We're hearing that that's gonna change a little bit.
So I had asked to get forwarded their new proposed fee schedule when I was down there, and they were hoping to get it out, but I have not received it. That being said, one of the additional things that was mentioned was they were going to, for residences or residential folks, they were going to start charging the small fees for doing TVs. because those are one of the things that they have to pay every time that anything is sent out.
But we
But the-
don't wanna find them
to-
on the side of the road,
to-
somebody sitting there watching one either, do we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
right.
but to your
That's a hard
comment,
thing.
there's kind of two sets of the fee schedules that are gonna matter. One is gonna be for if there's additional things, for example, that, the TVs for residentials. And from when they said it, it was like $10 or something, so it's entirely reasonable. The second is going to be, for example, the commercial tipping, which may or may not require in their, in their town, green bags from people before they go in versus not, and so on and so forth. So maybe there were discounts because of that and that's going away, that I'm not sure. But the one thing I'll comment on there is that we need to look at, when we go there, we should look at the two as residential and commercial kind of separately. Because yes, people that are residents use these commercial entities, but we don't want to get into a situation where, because we're not charging them, our tax dollars are paying them to do their work. So we just need to make sure that we think about all of that separately, and that the commercial portion, whether it's an increase or not, does not become a burden on the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Was that just adjusting a hat or a comment?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Which really, probably with you saying that, we should be educated enough to know
Mhm.
what, without, knowing their business, where they,
Well, and if you remember back to when we were there for the joint budget hearing
Mhm.
portion of that, well, I shouldn't say budget hearing, but the joint budget proposal portion of that, they were talking about this goes up this much because of this is up this much because of this. And so a lot of that was presented in their budget.
Right, we
And
did
they
on
also
Zoom, right?
recommended that that they wanted to upgrade fees to account for that. So the revenue would come up to help offset it.
yeah.
So I would expect, I don't know, but I would expect that we would talk about that when we go for the joint meeting, not just, yeah, we're all in for the transfer station agreement, let's have a warrant article, okay, bye.
Yeah. Yep, okay.
Any other comments or questions on that?
You do well.
All right. That brings us to new business, general assessing contract.
Yes, we did get the contracts from the assessors for services. We have 2 contracts. These are, both of which the board approved when you agreed to use Comerford, Nita, Perkins. We have the general assessing contract, which the amounts that are referenced agree with what they had bid. And we also have the full cyclical revaluation contract. So I was hoping that the board would be able to sign these.
And if my recollection is correct, we had also gotten a quote that we approved contingent upon this for approval of the utility assessor.
Well, this is amazing, because I just so happened, that's my next contract here, is the utility proposal, which was the same rate as what we're currently have paid.
Oh, that's good news.
Perfect. So we do have everything to sign at
So
once,
I
since
think
they are
you-
needed as a package.
I think you have everything.
Okay.
And there are 2 copies of the same contract.
Okay.
Yes.
This is big.
This is a big day. We also enjoyed a certain section of the contract.
One.
They also changed a date here so that we have our reval at an earlier date.
That is good. Then we won't have the last minute scrambles.
Right.
Well, it was entertaining for a little while.
And this looks like it needs witnessing.
Is it just witnessing, or is it,
This says
In
witness.
the presence of with a witness.
okay,
Actually, yeah,
is it just one?
yeah.
I could witness it,
Would you
Get
take
that
turns?
pen handy.
you know?
Okay,
got it.
those are two more to,
You can do that. Send it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's cold and
Is
it's
it cold?
dark.
I mean, is
Did
it?
you get my message about?
Yes, thank you very
Oh,
much. Yes, I
okay.
called my, yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, I called my son. He goes, yeah, that tree was gonna go, Mom. Good thing she's half blind. She can't see. She can't leave anyways. I can't see the tree. It's not funny. but it
You know,
is.
we're all getting there.
Oh, she's got this film in her eye. It's like a 10-minute. They zap it, and it kind of came on quickly, and then she ignored her other eye. So some of it being her fault, but that takes 3 or 4 weeks just to get in the operating room. So the poor woman's going around the house in a fog,
Oh, no,
and you can't. You try everything, and they're like, yeah, no,
yeah,
8 more days of being
well,
blind.
jeez.
But, you know, you'd hope she'd learn a lesson and not waiting too long for things. Probably not, 75, right?
You don't think about those things though, really. You think, well, you think it's just like, you know, I didn't
Looks
have,
like you missed this one.
oh, I'm sorry.
Hopefully I didn't miss any.
That's why you're the ace kid.
Hey, listen, you just got back, really?
Hey, I miss everything if you ask other people.
We had a
so-
fast, we had a couple of fast meetings.
Well, I don't know,
didn't
you're moving this one right along tonight. You all
Trying.
right?
Oh, this
We
was
presented
another
him
one
with
of
a
those.
challenge because
Did I
we saw
miss
the
that?
2 Mountain
Yeah.
Dew cans.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
know.
see that part.
And I forgot my water.
Oh, no.
You know, I usually, yeah.
We better get you out of here before you like turn into a prune.
Well, no, you know what happens
Shrivel
is
up
all of a
right
sudden you'll
before
get
our
that, just cause it's like your brain knows it's not here.
yeah.
And then you decide to get a tickle. That's what will happen to me.
there's 2 on that one.
I know, I've started.
I don't think I'm
drinking a lot
gonna
more
peel
water.
over. I just-
1, 2,
Oh. Usually my secretary's like, here, here, and here. And don't date it, I will.
Am I still missing a general, oh, is this it here? Okay, never mind.
Do we have all of them?
Yes.
we signed them all?
And then now I have the utility
Utility.
appraisal.
Just one spot to sign?
And that's cause it's a different dude.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so we're up here.
I just
He
like
does
when
a
I'm paying
damn good
attention.
job.
What?
I like when I'm, right.
Doing good. It's still a bunch in here.
There you go.
But once it's done, the meeting's over.
The
So
public service
faster, would
case
ya?
is still going on.
Huh?
The public service case that is up in
Yep.
Hatfield's handling.
I'm assuming that will probably go on for quite a while, but,
Their
That way they'll-
utility appraiser is $1,000 a month.
now is that gonna, are we expecting to take that out of the appraisal line because they were previous appraisers, or are we expecting to take that out of legal line in our budget?
I was gonna put it into the appraisal line.
Okay.
I think, it's really for utility appraisals for Brian Fogg's contract.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, I just whipped up something I don't want.
We good?
No, but I'll be fine as I work on it.
Okay.
Look at all those little folders you have now.
He stays organized. He's good at it.
So that moves us on to the audit questionnaire,
Yes.
which I would suggest that we do similarly to last time, which is to just have Dana fill it out as we go through it. Because it should be pretty simple and straightforward for us. Once I find it in the packet again. There we go. Does that sound,
Yep, send it.
all right.
Paul's great.
Do you have any knowledge of fraud or suspicions of fraud affecting your entity, which would be the town?
No.
No. Have you received any communications from employees, former employees, regulators, or others alleging fraud?
No.
No. Have you identified any specific risks of fraud? No. Has the board adopted a universal code of ethics for members and employees? Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
If yes, does it prohibit elected officials and employees from doing business with the town?
No.
Though it does have a provision for amount, I believe, or at least RSAs do, but in any case. Have you or any related party of yours had any interest, direct or indirect, in any of the following transactions or pending or incomplete transactions since January of last year, to which the town or any retirement savings, pension, or other similar plan is to be a party? Sale, purchase, exchange, or leasing of property? I haven't.
No.
Nope. Receiving or furnishing of goods, services, and facilities?
No.
Nope. Transfer or receipt of income or assets? No. I will, however, mention that I have purchased and been reimbursed for, at the exact same price, for some of the computers that we've replaced, just in the interest of transparency for folks. Maintenance of bank balances as compensating balances for the benefit of another?
No.
Other transactions? Nope. If yes, describe, so that doesn't apply. Does the board have any concerns about known related party relationships? Nope. Does the board formally authorize all disbursements, vendor, and payroll prior to the release of funds?
Usually.
I think that's mostly because of payroll.
I think we should say yes, because we do sign off on payroll, though I think payroll happens anyway.
Yeah,
because of laws.
that's one of those laws that, you know, they're opposing
there's-
laws. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
you're
you
supposed
can't
to sign
hold it.
off on it, but
Yeah.
you can't hold the
That's right.
payroll
Well, then
either,
there's the
so.
credit card bills too.
And then we do the credit card bills, but.
But that,
those would only
we
be-
do,
But you-
we
but-
do authorize those prior to release of funds
Yes.
to repay the credit cards. Because we sign off on that transfer. for the
Well,
bill.
thought we
sometimes you
changed it
do,
because we
oftentimes I do it, and
Mhm.
maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should just wait.
Well, that was how we got the late fees, which is why we changed it.
Yeah, we did it with the.
And then we
interest.
Oh,
review
yeah,
what
yeah.
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Right. But it's not, I mean, you know about it, I mean.
Right.
So I think we should say,
Mostly.
I could
With
ex-
exception of the credit cards?
I could explain that.
yeah, I think you should check that off as no and then explain it. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem, but. Describe how the board stays informed of the latest changes in laws and regulations pertaining to the town.
Dana.
Dana.
We
get no
receive
credit.
updates from.
No, I
Also
get
in Dana.
We receive updates from our town administrators. We receive updates from NHMA. We receive updates from the, I'm blanking on their name now, the New Hampshire department with like the voting and all those laws.
Oh, no, that's the Secretary of State's
Secretary of
office.
State.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think, and of course, public hearings and other information from boards, such as planning board and ZBA. Does the board review comparative reports of estimated and actual revenues and appropriations and expenditures? Yes.
Yes.
It's part of our budget process. And monthly reports. What procedures does the board follow in reviewing or using these reports? For example, does the board normally meet with department heads as part of this process? Department head meetings once a month.
Yep.
Has the board approved a disaster recovery plan in the event of loss or interruption of the IT function? I believe that is no.
That is no. It is something though that.
It is in process.
Yeah, I would check no and put a in progress note next to
Okay.
it, even though there's no space for that. Please describe how financial data is backed up, how often does this occur, and where is the backup maintained? I don't know the full details, but I do know that we have financials backed up to at least the local server, and it should in theory also be getting backed up to the cloud.
I believe so, it's over there.
Over there.
Took the longest time before I understood what the cloud was.
Oh,
I
trust me.
I would suggest that you verify that with our IT
I will,
company,
yeah.
but I believe that is the case. Is there a written investment policy adopted? Yes. Please provide a copy and when it was last reviewed or approved. You can do that and date it. Have you adopted the use of either debit or credit cards by employees? Yes. And provide a copy of the policy, which we have. Does the board have knowledge of any funds or bank accounts that are not in the custody of the treasurer? Yes, those in custody of the
Trustee?
trustees of the trust funds. I think that would be the only one.
Yes, that would be great.
Has the board approved a fund balance policy in compliance with GASB number 54, fund balance reporting the government fund type definitions? I know we've approved a fund balance policy. I have no idea if it is
Goes with
compliant with that
Well, I'm
GASB.
pleased to tell you have, and you know, I won't bore you with GASB 54.
Perfect.
But it is quite fascinating.
Oh, gee.
Does the board have knowledge of any crowdfunding activities? If so, please indicate what they are, on what website are they maintained, who is responsible, and please provide a copy of your crowdfunding policy.
What is
We
crowd-
don't do that as a town. And it wouldn't be, quote, crowdfunding, I don't think. But there is the fire department's chicken dinners. But I don't believe that would fall under crowdfunding, because we're not funding any of the town with that.
Also, I don't think that's done by the town.
The chicken dinner really is the association.
Yeah.
And that's, and
Mhm.
not the,
Correct.
you know.
So I would say no for that. For each board member, please provide the years of service and a description of the background.
I can do what I did
I'm sure
last
you
year.
can fill in the
Yeah.
names and dates.
Yeah, oh, I can make some things up.
Make it up, make it sound good, will you?
And let's just each state our generic background. I've been an engineer, an IT consultant, and a communications person for a long time, interested in laws and energy and logic. And that has put me here because people suggested that I continue to serve more and more in town.
Business owner for 30 years, mom of 4, full-time babysitter. Budgets.
You're not supposed to talk about your employees that way.
I know, they're my children. I told somebody one time I had 35 children, and he looked at my husband, he goes, wow. Yeah, I look at just, you know, life in general of running a business.
I hate to say it, I've been a writer for 50-something years, 39 and 11. So,
And sat on a lot of boards and committees,
and
right?
I've also done a lot in the town.
I've sat
and,
on every board.
Old Home Day, I was in Old Home Day for like 11 years. Brought the fireworks in, that was the first time we had fireworks. And a lot of other committees I've done.
School board.
Brought the public kindergarten, well, it wasn't public, I started a kindergarten that went until public. It's 20-something years, 24 I think, to a public. Been on the school board for 30 years.
When is this questionnaire expected back?
It is going to be in my file for when the auditors arrive on April 1st.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's.
So that is the end of the questions and comments. It does have a sign by the chairperson on behalf of the board. So I'll let you finish filling out all the,
Let me fill it out.
the last bits and attaching stuff, and then let me know and I can come down and sign it.
You wanna make sure I don't write in.
Hey,
Well, that would be the appropriate April Fool's joke.
That would be a great April Fool's joke.
Sorry, I couldn't.
We'd
do
need
that.
2 copies though, so we had a real legit one.
Okay.
All
I'll do
right.
that. Thank you.
So that moves us on to correspondence, which I will mention one that I got fairly recently. I don't remember whether it was today or yesterday, but it was from the Census BAS, or Boundary and Annexation Survey, to make sure that Dana also has a copy and will respond and take care of that.
Was that to do with building permits?
I don't believe so.
Okay, cause I got one for building permits that,
Let's see.
oh, is this the boundaries, if we've changed the
Yeah,
boundaries in
US
town?
Census Bureau
Oh, okay.
boundaries.
All right. I can take care of that.
Which I'm sure we don't have much to say to them, other than, yep, they're okay. They'll probably wanna know when the last time we perambulated, or something of that nature, but, that's about all I have there. Do we have any further correspondence?
We have a letter from the state, which was mailed to our assessors. They had requested an extension for their UPAP big form. What is it, USPAP?
USPAP.
USPAP?
That's the
UPAP.
assessors, the general practices assessors.
We're supposed to have it in the office anyway, and it just explains how properties are assessed.
So you know when it says this on your tax card, that's how they equate that to that value. That's all in that very long report.
So, and so it's, because I asked for it at the end of the thing, and they said, well, we're still working on it. I said, oh, fine. Then you mentioned about the letter we had gotten from Empty Trash. Marlo had mentioned something about that last time. And that's the correspondence I have.
Any other correspondence that you've received?
No, I didn't get anything.
I didn't have time to read the minutes. No, I'm kidding.
They were quite
I mean,
fast.
I did a really good job on keeping.
Well, that brings us to public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was,
Of which we sort of have a public. There's at least a person sitting here. Anything that you want to bring up in public session?
No correspondence from me.
Well, just
No
any,
public comment.
okay.
he's holding his tongue over there.
And that brings us to approval of draft meeting minutes. Of course, I wasn't here, so I will abstain. If one of the two of you would like to make the motions and second.
Shall we motion to, I'll make a motion that we accept the, okay, where the heck are they handwritten?
The second.
God.
I believe there was a
The dates.
non-public
There was
as well.
also a non-public.
And then,
Oh,
on the back.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't include that one on the agenda.
No.
what's the, what was the date on that?
On January 2nd, I make a motion to accept the minutes as written on January 2nd, 2024.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstained. And is there a similar motion for the non-public?
Non-public.
I make a motion to accept the non-public minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. That moves us to signing of documents and motions for payments.
I have the payroll to be signed. I have 2 warrants to be signed for timber cuts,
Two.
and I have an intent to cut.
Oh,
I think there's multiple pages that you sign in the warrant.
Yeah, there's
There's 2
multiple pages
pages.
in the warrant that you need to sign, so,
which one?
Yeah,
Over here?
yeah.
This one?
all of them, but that's okay, they'll send it back to you.
I think there's 2 pages you need to sign. I think I put them up front.
So there's the first 2, and then looks like
Oh,
the
I
I can
third as
take that
well.
clip off.
Oh, and the 4th. So it looks like 4.
Well, there's 2 copies, one for me, one for Karen.
Oh, do
So
I
do
have
we
to
just
put
need one of
bead
each type, or do we need both signed?
Karen likes an original.
Okay.
I also like an original for my book.
Yeah,
Do
that
you
would-
take the average price for the tax rate?
So hopefully they submit their timber assessment sheet. And when they don't, I review it and I go based on the sale and the location. Cause I talked to Rick about it and he's like, well, if it's on a state road, that's generally good condition. If it's on a town road, it's about average. If it's on a class 6 road, 4. And I try to evaluate it like that.
Is this
So
one attached
what,
to that?
what is normal then?
Yes, I.
Then what, then you
I think
take your
it was-
average?
Was attached to
Right.
this. Yeah,
So normal would be average would be 2.
yeah, cause I had to sign this other one because I had to
And
put
for the
that-
volumes, I'm not an expert on volumes.
Well, they're submitting what? You mean
I
how
mean, I
much
can tell
volume?
when it's like a really, really small one, like somebody did something in their backyard, but those look pretty average to me from what I've seen. There was nothing outstandingly huge.
Sign our lives away.
I do the best I have with the information that was provided.
Yeah, yeah.
But it really does help if people fill out the assessment sheets.
I've had mine sent back.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I
They argued
generally,
with
if
me.
they send it, I go with that because that's what I have.
Did you get an assessment?
Not for either one of them.
So, all right, is there anything else for her
Yes.
while she signs?
Speaking of paying bills directly, these were the Unitil bills that were paid out of the.
Oh, goody Unitil bills, what a terrific.
Speaking of Unitil bills, I will take this opportunity to mention that I'm currently investigating with the Community Power Coalition, but it looks like we can leave our solar panels on Unitil for the credits from their pricing and sign up with Community Power for all of the municipal buildings and properties.
She needs to sign
Uh,
those.
You need to sign
Oh.
the rest of those.
Oh, I thought I did.
And
Well, there's a second signature. on
that will allow for the group net metering that we have to still go forward. In theory, nothing should change other than the amount that we would pay for electricity would be significantly less. However, it's Unitil, so we never know how their back end is not going to handle things correctly. So I am working with the Community Power Coalition to verify how to do that appropriately and make sure we have all the right forms to do so if it makes sense. Being that would be a change of vendor, I would expect that Dana and I would bring that to you at a future meeting if it does make sense. That one as well. That's separate from this.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine. We got some experts on this board.
Are there any other
No, that's all I had.
any motions,
Um,
which I believe we normally collect for quarterlies, but,
Well, what do we have?
I have nothing further.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, motions, I'm sorry, yeah, hello.
So that completes our agenda, which brings us to any possible non-publics, of which I
would
believe we
like
do
to,
have one.
yes, I would like to have a non-public under RSA 91A, section 2A, which is personnel.
All right. Any further discussion or comment for the public session?
We're gonna turn it on.
All right, seeing none, I would move that we enter into non-public session at 7:49.
Nope, I'm wrong.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And as of note, like normal, once this is completed, we will immediately exit the normal session following, so there will not be any further street